two, one, two. One, two, one, one, two. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. There we go. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two.
Mấy cái tuổi kia mấy đi xích nữa. Đấy. Lấy ra cái ốc bắt cái tầm máy. Ai umma pasti mungkin mai yang ada umma itu yang buat bisa ada ya.
dear Almighty and Lord. With that attention is turned to us with the eyes of the living, to be present to one another. On this auspicious day, we give thanks for the Pacific climate warriors, for their leadership and actions in raising our global awareness of climate change and its devastating effects. Hear, O God, their cries for Mother Earth and the islands of Moana Nui Aotearoa. Move our minds, hearts and wills to take notice of the pleas of the Pacific climate warriors for a better way of living on our earth and in our oceans. Bless too the Pax Christi sections throughout the world in their work for peace, justice and the integrity of creation. Bless this day and all who are taking part in it. Kia tau tēnari Maria, kia tātou katoa. Amen. May peace be with us all. Amen.
Testing one.
Kia ora tātou. No mai, haere mai. Welcome to the awards ceremony for the Pax Christi International Peace Prize for 2020. My name is Susan Healy and I'm a trustee of Pax Christi Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I've been asked to speak on behalf of Kevin McBride, our National Secretary. For those of us who are present, and our apologies to those of you who are watching from online, I've got to give you some practical notices. The first thing comes out of our COVID response. If you haven't done this already, we'd be really glad, as you go, if you make sure that you either click on the, for the app out there, or there is a page to be filled in with your name. The other thing, in case we have an earthquake, I don't think Auckland is quite so likely to have one, but we're asked to remember drop, cover and hold. And the other thing, in case of fire, you can see where the exits are. There's 2 at the front here and 2 at the back. Hopefully we won't need them, but they, if possible, we're asked to assemble in the car park at the back. Just going to give you a little of background to this prize that's from Pax Christi International. The Peace Prize has been presented since 1988 to an individual or organisation that exemplifies the values of Pax Christi: human dignity, social justice and care for creation, peace and reconciliation, grassroots experience, compassion, solidarity and collaboration, cultural, spiritual and worldview diversity, prayer, study and action. Over the years, the prize has been awarded to organisations that defended the rights of migrants in Europe, work for justice among women in Colombia, advocacy for the civil rights of African Americans in the United States, the use of non-violent strategies to defend water and other natural resources in Mexico, the protection of human rights advocates in Pakistan, and that's to name a few. It was established in 1987 when a former president of Pax Christi International, Cardinal Bernardus Elfrink, established a fund to finance this annual award. And let us now move on to the award ceremony for this year's wonderful and worthy recipients, the Pacific Climate Warriors.
their nations, they came to form the same concept that Pope Francis highlights in the Latter Sea, when he states that a rise in the sea level, for example, can create extremely serious situations if we consider that a quarter of the world's population lives on the coasts or nearby, and that the majority of our mega cities are situated in coastal areas. We are indeed grateful for and celebrate the indigenous spirituality of the Pacific, which enriches our understanding of our Creator and the beauty of all life. On behalf of all us, members of Pax Christi International across the globe, we say thank you to you, Pacific climate warriors, for your commitment, your creativity, your bravery. We applaud your non-violent and steadfast actions in the protection of our common home, the Mother Earth. We are indebted to you. We celebrate you, and we stand in solidarity with you. Congratulations and many blessings as you put your lives online to create a more just, non-violent, beautiful, and peaceful environment for today's and future generations. Peace be with you all, and praise to the Creator of our beautiful common home, the earth. So we're now moving on to the introduction of the Peace Prize recipients. I'm going to ask Mary Moyono Kolio to come up. She is the Wellington coordinator of the Pacific Climate Warriors. And Mary is going to introduce the warriors. And there's been a request that at the end of the introductions that you assemble and have a photograph taken.
Thank you. I was going to say it in my speech, but I can confirm I am still 20, in my 20s. So I have a few more months to claim that. But I'm just going to ask our team to stand up. I don't want to put them on the spot, as I do, and just ask them to introduce themselves. This is our Pacific Climate Warrior whānau. Cool. That's it. This is what I do for them.
Kia ora, my name is Ulu and I'm a part of the Wellington team.
Talafalava, my name is Chris. I'm part of the Auckland Climate Warriors.
Mahalo everyone, my name is Taolofa and I'm part of both teams.
Maloni, my name is Helena Furuifanga Chanpang and I'm also part of the Wellington team.
Kia ora everybody, my name is Sabrina Manu, I'm part of the Auckland team.
Talofalava, my name is Lila Tapusor and I'm from the Auckland team.
Talofalava, my name is Brianna Fruin and I'm a part of the Samoa and the Auckland team.
Zala Falava, my name is Melissa Leao Pepe and I am part of the Wellington team based in Auckland. Go the Blues. Did you want to play the video first? Oh, because of...
experiences
filling us with optimism. I'm sure for many of us here and all the online viewers, you have filled us with optimism, you and your warriors. So I'm now going to ask Helen Doherty, who's chair of the Pax Christi Aotearoa, New Zealand, and Bishop Michael Gearan, who's the Auxiliary Bishop of Auckland, if they would come forward to present this award, this international award.
You will bless this award. That it will be a reminder that you are the beginning and the source and end of all peace. You desire peace for your people and for this world. And that as you are young people, as they receive this award, that they too will know a deeper peace in their hearts. And they will continue with this incredible task, this incredible call that they have received, and they will pass it on to the next generation. Amen.
Well, thank you everyone. Tēnā koutou, tāna kalava. Thank you everyone for that warm welcome, and just to everyone who made today possible. I also wanted to acknowledge those who are joining us via the live feed. What a blessing it is that we can stay connected despite everything that's happening in the world. Well, first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge Pax Christi International and Pax Christi Aotearoa. This award is incredibly humbling, and I thank you for not only recognizing the work that the Pacific Climate Warriors is doing, but also shining a light on the very real challenge that we're facing in the Pacific. I'm delighted to be receiving this award, and on behalf of the Pacific Climate Warriors here in Aotearoa and across the region, admittedly, there's a part of me that felt that I probably wasn't the right person to be accepting this award, acknowledging that many people have gone before me, some of who are here, who have paved the way for us to be able to do this work. But nonetheless, it's an honor to be able to be here and to be amongst such an incredible list of previous recipients. Climate change is more than an environmental issue, but a manifestation of a much larger ecological crisis, not of our own making, but one that the Pacific evidently are the first ones to suffer from. In my own home of Whalefa in Samoa, my dad's village, my dad has seen within a period of 50 years the primary school grounds that he attended disappear under the sea. His mother's village of Aotearoa, where he grew up playing in Samoa, is now essentially deserted due to the frequent severe weather events such as cyclones and floods, which has essentially rendered the village uninhabitable. For me and for my fellow warriors, examples such as this is why climate change and the work that we do is so personal. It's personal because it's the lives and the livelihoods of our families and our friends that are being destroyed and continue to suffer due to the consequences of inaction and the complicit silence of so many others. There's a proverb in Samoa that says, "O lo rangunu'u o lo tofi lea mai le atua," which essentially means that your culture or your way of life is a gift from God. As a follower of Christ, we are also taught that creation itself is a gift from God. For us in the Pacific, they are one and the same. For over 3,000 years, our cultures have been tied to our environment. In Samoa, when we're born, our umbilical cord and placenta are simply not discarded, but rather that they're carefully prepared and taken to our homes so that they can be buried into the earth, signifying our deep connection with our land. Fun fact, the word for land and placenta in Samoa are the same, whanua. As Pacific people, we come from ancestors who have taught generation after generation that our relationship to nature is one of love and respect. We're taught to never take more than we need and to always give back where and when we can. Our histories, cultures, and spirituality are interwoven with creation, which is why climate change is a threat not only to our lands, but our very identity as Pacific people. Some of you might be thinking, how is a group with the name Warriors and a slogan, "We are fighting," receiving a peace prize? Well, simply put, climate change is one of the greatest acts of violence and destruction that my generation is witnessing play out in real time. And so it is not only within our power, but our moral duty to stand against it. Leaders across the Pacific have called out climate change as a single greatest threat to the security and prosperity of the Pacific. And so we make this stand not with violence, but by deploying something far more potent and impactful, our cultures, the wisdom of our elders, and the tenacity of our young people. The Warriors are founded in communities all across the Pacific and in the diaspora. We're deeply rooted in our cultures that have role modeled environmental stewardship for thousands of years. We lean in to the traditional knowledges of our elders, who through their wisdom are able to read the same stars that guided our ancestors across the Pacific and here to Aotearoa. They remind us of our heritage and teach us how to be one with our environment. These are the lessons that we carry forward and are being carried forward by our young people and our young people here today. A few years ago, Pope Francis released Laudato Si. In it, he reminds us that we are faced with two separate crises. That we are not faced with two separate crises, one environmental and the other social, but rather with one complex crisis which is both social and environmental. The impacts of climate change is by its very nature a violent act born of greed and self-interest, and we must overcome it with every tool at our disposal, especially as a faith community. Today, I want to recognize and honor the young people in the room who, without their commitment and dedication to the fight against climate change, we would not be here today. And as I said, I've got a few more months in my 20s, so I'm going to become youth adjacent. But I really wanted to acknowledge them because of the work that they pour into this for free and often unseen. I particularly wanted to acknowledge Brianna, someone who, although is young, is an elder in this space, who I have seen grow from strength to strength, and someone that I also look up to. She founded 350 Samoa when she was only 9 and has gone on to inspire young people, such as myself, and leaders alike across the world. I also wanted to acknowledge that today is actually Brianna's uncle, Akim Frowen's anniversary of his passing, and I wanted to acknowledge the elder that was in Brianna's, that has been a huge elder and pillar of strength for Brianna. None of this would be possible without our parents, elders, and our communities. The young men and women in this room are all product of a village that have raised us, the elders who have taught us, and the parents who have loved us. They continue to inspire us, and it is from them that we draw strength. Today is a special day for me, also as my parents are here. I grew up watching them, and I saw how over 40 years they dedicated their lives to service. And although sometimes my brother and I in our youth didn't quite understand why we continued to house strangers, we grew up to admire that about them and have now sought to emulate them. They have provided the template upon which I have built my life, and I hope that one day the same can be said for me and my future children. I also wanted to acknowledge my big brother, who unfortunately could not be here today due to border restrictions, Big Brother Joe. He has been quite literally the giant shoulders that I have stood on, cried on, ranted to, and has been a constant voice of reason as I navigate my own climate journey. Next February, we are expecting our family's first grandchild, Joe's son, and potentially Samoa's soon-to-be most spoiled baby. It is for my soon-to-be nephew that I and many others in this room remain committed to the fight for climate justice, a fight that we may not live to see the fruits of, but one that is grounded in the hope that our children, or our nephews, children's children, will live in a world where their primary focus is being a child rather than an activist, trying to convince those in power that our homes are worth saving. To all of you who took the time to be with us today, I thank you for honoring us with your presence and with your prayers. Please remember that climate change isn't just about science, politics, or ideology. It is always, first and foremost, about people. As the crisis continues to impact our communities, I ask you to remember the faces of those of us who are in the room from the Pacific. We are the human faces of climate change, a real issue affecting real people. 2,000 years ago, a young man, not much older than I, reminded us to above all love God and love one another. As you recall these words, think about the world that God has gifted us and remember the faces of climate change, our communities, the communities that He calls on us to love. With this love, we are not only moved to action, but compelled toward it. As a community of faith, this is something that is at the very core of who we are as Catholics and Christians. This is what we continue to do in our work throughout the region. And so it is in this spirit that we invite everyone to stand with us. The Pacific cannot afford another decade of inaction. We are your neighbours. It is time we work together for the future of the neighbourhood. May these reflections determine what we do today. Hotai lava, so forth.
Well, thank you, Mary, for those really inspiring words. We're now going to have messages from around the Grove of congratulations, and then there will be a chance if anybody in the room wants to add congratulations, they can do so too.
And your eagerness to secure the future of your islands is a good example to us. I wish you hope, courage, peace, and congratulations again.
Greetings from Pax Christi USA to the rest of the Pax Christi International Network on this really incredible occasion of awarding the International Peace Prize to the Pacific Climate Warriors. I'm Johnny Zakovich from Pax Christi USA, I'm the Executive Director here, and it was my great fortune, I guess it's been 3 years now, back in 2017, to have spent a little time in New Zealand and gotten to meet several of the young people who are involved with the Pacific Climate Warriors. And I heard a little bit about the work that they are doing, and it's absolutely incredible. And I'm just so thrilled that y'all have been awarded the International Peace Prize from Pax Christi International. Honestly, I couldn't be happier. Congratulations on the award, and good luck with your work going forward. I hope there's ways that we can partner and be a good ally for the work that you're doing here in the United States. Thanks.
On the occasion of being awarded the Peace Prize 2020, Pax Christi Austria would like to congratulate the young Pacific Warriors on this achievement. We're very happy that a young group like you has been awarded, and we hope that your aims and your strategies will be successful in the future. All the best again from Pax Christi Austria.
Congratulations to the Pacific Climate Warriors. Pax Christi in Wales congratulates you. Your witness and your energy inspires us here on the other side of the world. Well done.
Congratulations from the Resident Commission Resident. We are in the Federated States of Micronesia, Palau, Saipan, and Guam. Thank you.
Hearty congratulations to you, Pacific Climate Warriors. Thank you for the work that you do for climate justice, especially in our part of the world, which is so vulnerable to climate change. I'm
Sophia, and I'm representing Pax Christi Filipinas.
Bonjour, je suis Marie-Lise Wadan du Centre de recherche Action pour la paix en Côte d'Ivoire. Nous sommes en partenariat avec Pax Christi depuis plusieurs années et je viens saisir l'occasion pour vous féliciter pour le travail en faveur de la paix, sur la paix et le développement. Et nous sommes très heureux de pouvoir collaborer à cela. Félicitations, courage et vraiment beau travail. Bravo.
Here a message from Anne-Marie, Director of Pax Christi Flanders, Belgium, for the Pacific Climate Warriors who receive the Pax Christi International Peace Prize. Congratulations, and we of Pax Christi Flanders are very happy that you received this prize this year, as climate is such an important issue for our planet, and we thank especially all the young people who came on the streets to shake up the establishment, and we hope that this Peace Prize will move forward the efforts that are made to really tackle the problems that are related to the climate change. So our best wishes and congratulations, and all the best from the northern part of the world. Good luck.
In Laudato Si, Pope Francis has invited us to adopt a circular model of production capable of preserving resources for present and future generations, while limiting as much as possible the use of non-renewable resources, moderating their consumption, maximizing their efficient use, reusing and recycling them. Now that you young people from South Asia Pacific region have been honored with the Pax Christi International Peace Prize, I want to congratulate you in the name of all our partners and communities in the region who resist to destructive model. You Pacific warriors, keep the courage and give us an example to follow. Felicitaciones. Un abrazo desde Colombia.
Dear friends of Pax Christi International, on behalf of Pax Christi France, I wish to join you in celebrating and congratulating Pacific Climate Warriors for their deservedly won Pax Christi International Award. It is a well-deserved recognition of a big effort in favor of our Earth, of the protection of our climate, of social justice. We are wholeheartedly with you in this combat.
I found that really, really moving, and thank you. Because we live here, we can feel a little share of your glory. So, is there anybody who would like to add to those congratulations from around the world?
Kia ora tēnā kaita katoa, te mihi tuatahi kia koe whaia, nau anoi waki te tatau ki runga te aroha me te tika, ki raro te kura wai o te aroha. Kia ora ana kaita katoa, te aroha mātua te atua, nā te au orometsua, te au whaiwhi ao, kia ora ana kaita katoa, whakalofa lei atu mautolosi, malola lei, talofa lava, Isa Bulavanaka. Kia ora everybody, my name is Tiano Tuiono, I'm a member of Parliament with the Green Party. And so I'm here representing the Green Party, and on behalf of the Honourable James Shaw and the Honourable Marama Davidson, we congratulate you on this amazing work, and also for that really strong reminder that it's about people. It's about our people in the Pacific. It's about those connections that we have with the Pacific, and that those long cultural and ancestral connections that we have here in Aotearoa with the Pacific as well, and always making sure that that is at the forefront of people's minds. It is not just about science, and it's not just about politics. It's all about how we as people connect with the environment, and you guys have put that on the map, and just wanted to congratulate you on that. I've got a few memories of the Pacific Climate Warriors myself. I'm too old to be a young climate warrior. I'm sort of edging on the way on my late 40s. But I was active in organising at the 2015 COP where we had the Paris Climate Summit. So I had the privilege of working with people and organising with them inside the Conference of Parties and also outside with different Indigenous peoples. So I recognise Brianna, who was, I think you might have been there in 2015 and 2016 as well. And I recall yourself, Mary and Joe, talking at having some amazing conversations about what it means to be Pasifika here in Aotearoa and making sure that connection is real. And so finally, just keep up the good work, keep pushing, keep moving, keep reminding people, particularly people in power, that the Pasifika peoples are on the front lines of climate change. And if you ever do get an opportunity to come to Wellington, if you're in Wellington and the Parliament, please come and visit us. We would love to sit down and have a good talanoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou, kia ora tātou katoa.
Is there anyone else representing a group in particular that is?
Hello, kia ora. I want to congratulate you, and I hope this reward will inspire you to do even more, to keep the work up. Unfortunately, it's necessary. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Justice and Peace Commission for the Bishop of Auckland, and I'm also the convener of the Environment and Sustainability Committee. So what you're doing is very close to my heart, and I had the pleasure of working together with Christopher. He was on our committee for a short period of time and did some good work, but I'm actually quite happy that you are over here now, Christopher, because we work, us older people work behind the scenes and do what we can, but we definitely need you young people doing what you are so good at, and it is very inspiring what you're doing. So on behalf of the Justice and Peace Commission, I congratulate you very much. Thank you.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou, and tēnā koutou katoa. A warm Pacific greetings to all. My name's David Roby. I'm from AUT University, the Pacific Media Centre. You are a legend and an inspiration for all of us, particularly for us working in the media, trying to sort of tell climate change stories and trying to get action, trying to get some sort of change among political leaders and so on. It is so fantastic to have your stories and your inspiration to set for us in the region. And thank you so much for the constant challenge to our politicians. Kia ora, thank you.
I think we might move now towards the final prayer, but I have got a request of you, who are the climate warriors, that after the prayer is finished and before you have an afternoon tea, would you mind assembling around the big Pax Christi International screen so that we can get a photo so that it can be there for Pax Christi records, and any of your supporters as well, please. So, Rangi, are you going to lead us in the final prayer, or been handed to you?
Kia ora everyone, I get the final prayer, and I also, in my mihi, I was acknowledging Whaia, who welcomed us in a good way, and also our faith leaders in the room as well, because we know that without our faith communities, it's all about connecting all of our different communities and acknowledging the leadership that you have in this space. So let's pray. E te atua, ko tātou tēnei karapinepine, kararo te whakaruru, hau tēnei o nā whare. Tukuna mai o manaakitanga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia tūpakari ai te Pacific Climate Warriors, ki runga i te tika me te pono, marunga i te whakaaro me whakatakotohi e rātou te mānuka. Kia piki te ora, kia piki te mana, kia piki te kaha ki nā tangata katoa. Āmeni.
well. We're all invited now to afternoon tea, and but we're asking if you'd be kind enough to have that extra photo. So, Bridget. Oh, yes. To all of those of you who are on the live stream, thank you for being with us. Thank you very much indeed. I hope that you've really felt the flavour of what we've felt today, and hope that you hear a great deal more from the climate warriors, and as you've mentioned in your messages, that you support the kaupapa that they are so strongly advancing. Kia ora.